so creepy looking. This place is pit viper central. I'm Jack Randall. Oh, bam! See that? That was crazy cool. I'm finding every animal on the planet. Whoa. I'm in the wild. I think it's down here. Whoa, please. Up close and personal. And a massive snake. Okay, there's a scorpion on my arm. This is just remarkable. Look at that. Reticulated bifin in the water. Come on, let's go. There are animals that are specifically evolved for eating worms and small slugs and snails, all the animals that live in the ground, including snakes. There are snakes that have evolved for eating those animals. They're really small and really interesting looking. They're adapted for living on the ground or even burrowing underneath the soil. I found an area right by a stream, so there's lots of water and there's loads of mud here. So I imagine there's lots of worms. That's perfect. If I was one of these snakes, I'd be right here. I reckon I have a good chance of finding one. Whoa, look at this. A giant millipede. This is weird, so creepy looking. This is the biggest millipede I've ever seen in my life. So look at that, the way he's using all those tiny little legs to move around me. Really quite gentle, those legs. It's kind of like a little bit of a tickle. I'm having to be really careful not to disturb him too much because they have this defense mechanism where they'll curl up. I won't be able to get him unraveled and show you this guy if he curls up because he'll be there for ages because they aren't venomous. They haven't got that venom to be able to defend themselves. It's actually quite a hard exoskeleton there. So as they're curled up, they're pretty much protecting all those little delicate legs that they've got. Oh, look what I've also got. A longhorned beetle. I've got two quite cool looking invertebrates hanging out on my arm. They're not really fazed by it at all. I've got a millipede just sensing around and I've got a longhorned beetle upside down, just chilling. Time to let this guy go. All right, here we go. This is the swamp. This place is perfect to find animals that feed on invertebrates and worms. Look at this sludginess. Perfect, really fertile, a lot of water, a lot of moisture. Invertebrates need to have moisture. And so this is the perfect place for animals that actually eat those guys too. Whoa, look at that. Another pit viper. This place is pit viper central. Little baby one. That's another Siamese peninsula pit viper. As I'm moving around, I might unsurface something that's living underground. I have to be a bit more detailed here. Ah, yeah, there's a snake. Look at this. How can you believe that? That's actually a snake, a reed snake. These guys specialize in eating worms. You might be mistaken for thinking that actually is a worm itself. No, it's a tiny little snake. You wouldn't believe that snakes actually get this small. This is almost fully grown snake, it's tiny. You can see how he can burrow through this mud very easily. You look at his tongue flicking in and out like crazy. Tiny little head, minuscule. Very, very small eyes, I would say. Doesn't really have a very good eyesight at all, but using that forked tongue to be able to sense its prey. You can see how it's like got that iridescent rainbow sheen to it. It's really quite an amazing looking animal. And its underbelly, very, very pale. And it's that top surface that's dark, just like the mud where he's living. Ah, highly cool. A snake specialized in eating worms. All right, Mr. Reed Snake, time to put you back into the bogs. Snake! Snake! Look at this! He's not moving quickly at all. Look at this. Okay. This is a slug-eating snake. I cannot believe it. So the last snake we found was a reed snake that eats worms. This one eats slugs. Perfect habitat. Look at the ridge on the back of that snake. It almost looks like a dragon snake in terms of that ridge. And look at those eyes. That is the coolest looking eyes I've seen in any snake. It's so different to all the other snakes that I've been finding. I like the pit vipers. This one, and like the reed snake, is coloured brown because it blends into the ground coloration. Quite a chunky looking snake, all along, almost like the same chunkiness all along its whole body with a ridge. It's so slow moving as well. I feel like this is as fast as a snake's gonna go, just like very, very slow. I just can't describe, really, for a snake lover, how unbelievably crazy looking this guy is. That ridge is so unique. It's really, really hard. I'm feeling it now. It's just rock hard ridge all along its body. Well, I reckon that's been a successful night hunting for snakes. In a habitat I'm not really used to finding them. You really are a curious looking creature. Right, time to release this snake. Don't really want to say goodbye, he's so cool. Here you go. Slug eating snake, yes. A lot of the life is actually on the ground, but it's all smaller. So you're talking about ants, you're talking about centipedes, millipedes, spiders and worms, slugs, snails. There's a lot of biodiversity there. All the leaves and all the vegetation that falls onto the floor, all of that gets decomposed into the soil. So that's where actually most of the organic matter is. It's where a lot of the life is actually on the ground.